Seniors. 4 worst vegetables crushing your bones after 60, and 4 that can rebuild them stronger than ever. They told you vegetables are the cornerstone of healthy aging. Eat your greens, they said. Load up on salads, they promised. But what if I told you that some of the most popular vegetables in your refrigerator right now are secretly dissolving your bones from the inside out? What if the very foods you're eating to stay healthy are actually accelerating your journey toward osteoporosis, fractures, and independence? This isn't conspiracy theory. This is biochemistry. And the vegetable industry has been hiding these truths for decades because confused consumers buy more products. Today, we're exposing everything. We're revealing the 4 worst vegetables that are silently stealing calcium from your bones and destroying your strength after 60. And then we'll show you the 4 vegetables you must eat to rebuild bone density, ranked from good to miraculous. Stick around for number 1 on our must-eat list, because it contains a rare compound that's been shown to increase bone density by 8% in just 6 months, something most prescription drugs can't even achieve. Yet 95% of seniors walk past it in the produce aisle without knowing its power. Every scientific study we reference is linked in the description below, so you can verify this shocking information yourself. But before we begin, where are you watching from today? We read and respond to every single comment. Now, let's expose the first bone-destroying vegetable, and trust me, this one's gonna hurt because it's probably in your salad right now. Number 4, iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce, the foundation of nearly every senior salad, the crispy, refreshing vegetable that seems so innocent, so healthy. But here's the devastating truth. Iceberg lettuce is nutritionally bankrupt water that's actively displacing the vegetables that could be saving your bones. And worse, the way it's grown and processed introduces compounds that interfere with calcium absorption. Let's start with the obvious problem. Iceberg lettuce is 96% water, with virtually no nutritional value. 1 cup contains just 10 calories, barely any vitamins, and negligible minerals. But here's where it becomes dangerous for seniors. When you fill your stomach with iceberg lettuce, you're creating false satiety. You feel full, but you've consumed nothing that supports bone health. It's dietary displacement at its worst. Meet Sandra, 71. She ate a large iceberg lettuce salad every day for lunch, proud of her healthy habit. Topped with low-fat dressing, some tomatoes, and cucumbers, she thought she was doing everything right. But after 2 years of this routine, she started experiencing severe leg cramps and weakness. Her bone density scan revealed a 9% loss in just 24 months. Her nutritionist's analysis was damning. Sandra was so full from her voluminous salads that she wasn't eating enough nutrient-dense foods. Her daily iceberg habit was crowding out the vegetables that could have protected her bones. But the problem goes deeper than simple displacement. Commercial iceberg lettuce is one of the most heavily sprayed crops in agriculture. The pesticide residues, particularly organophosphates, interfere with calcium metabolism at the cellular level. A study from the Environmental Working Group found that conventionally grown iceberg lettuce contained residues of up to 52 different pesticides, many of which are known endocrine disruptors that affect bone metabolism. The high water content of iceberg lettuce also dilutes stomach acid when consumed in large quantities. You need strong stomach acid to absorb minerals like calcium, magnesium, and iron. When you flood your stomach with waterlogged lettuce, you're literally diluting your body's ability to extract nutrients from the rest of your meal. Studies show that stomach acid production decreases by up to 40% after age 60. Adding iceberg lettuce makes this worse. Here's another shocking fact. Iceberg lettuce contains lacticarium, a compound that has mild sedative effects. While not dangerous in normal amounts, daily consumption can contribute to the fatigue and weakness that many seniors attribute to aging. You're not just eating empty calories, you're consuming a mild sedative that makes you less likely to engage in the weight-bearing exercise your bones desperately need. The solution isn't to stop eating salads. It's to replace iceberg with nutrient-dense greens like romaine, 5 times more vitamin K, spinach when consumed properly, or arugula, calcium and vitamin K powerhouse. These greens provide actual nutrition rather than just watery bulk. Your bones need minerals, not water dressed up as nutrition. But if you think iceberg lettuce is bad, wait till you hear about the next vegetable, one that's been marketed as a superfood but is actually creating an acidic environment that forces your body to dissolve bones just to survive. Number 3. Tomatoes.
Tomatoes are everywhere, in your salads, sauces, soups, and sandwiches. They're colorful, they're flavorful, and they've been sold to you as a healthy vegetable, rich in lycopene and antioxidants. But for seniors fighting to maintain bone density, tomatoes are a hidden enemy that creates the perfect storm for calcium loss and bone deterioration. The first problem is acidity. Tomatoes have a pH between 4.3 and 4.9, making them highly acidic. When you consume acidic foods, your blood pH starts to drop. Your body cannot tolerate even slight changes in blood pH. It must maintain 7.4 to keep you alive. The fastest way to neutralize acid? Pull calcium phosphate from your bones. Every tomato-based meal triggers this calcium leaching response. But here's what makes tomatoes particularly dangerous. They contain high levels of oxalate acid, the same compound that makes spinach problematic, but in a sneakier form. While raw tomatoes have moderate oxalate levels, cooking concentrates them dramatically. That marinara sauce you love? It's an oxalate bomb. A single cup of tomato sauce contains enough oxalates to bind with calcium from your entire meal, making it unavailable for bone building.
Meet Robert, 68, an Italian-American who ate tomato sauce almost daily, pasta on Mondays, pizza on Fridays, tomato soup for lunch. His heritage was killing his bones. After a minor fall resulted in 3 fractured ribs, his bone scan revealed severe osteoporosis. His endocrinologist had him keep a food diary and was shocked. Robert was consuming tomato products 11 times per week. The chronic acid load was forcing his body to dissolve bones to maintain pH balance. The nightshade factor makes things worse. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family and contain solanine and tomatine, alkaloid compounds that trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. For people over 60, this inflammation activates osteoclasts, cells that break down bone tissue. A study in the Annals of Rheumatic Diseases found that people with the highest nightshade consumption had 27% more inflammatory markers and significantly lower bone density than those who limited nightshades. Tomatoes also contain high levels of glutamates, the same compounds found in MSG. These excitotoxins overstimulate nerve cells and can interfere with calcium channel function in bone cells. When calcium channels malfunction, bones can't properly uptake calcium even when it's available. You could be taking calcium supplements religiously, but tomatoes are blocking the doors. The pesticide load on conventional tomatoes adds another layer of bone destruction. Tomatoes have thin skins that absorb chemicals readily. They're on the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen list, with conventional tomatoes containing residues of 35 different pesticides on average. Many of these chemicals, particularly organochlorines, accumulate in bone tissue and interfere with normal bone metabolism for years. If you're eating tomatoes daily, whether fresh, in sauce, or as juice, you're creating a chronic acidic environment that forces constant calcium loss.
The solution? Limit tomatoes to once or twice per week maximum. When you do eat them, combine them with alkalizing vegetables like cucumbers or leafy greens, and always choose organic to avoid the pesticide burden. Your bones can handle occasional acid challenges, not daily acid baths. But the next vegetable on our list is even more insidious because it's hiding in almost every processed food you eat, slowly turning your skeleton into Swiss cheese. Number 2. Corn. Corn. It's not just corn on the cob or corn kernels anymore. It's corn syrup, corn starch, corn oil, and dozens of derivatives hiding in 75% of processed foods. What was once an occasional summer treat has become an omnipresent bone destroyer that most seniors consume multiple times daily without even knowing it. Let's start with the phosphorus problem.
Corn contains extremely high levels of phosphorus, but almost no calcium, the worst possible ratio for bone health. When you consume high phosphorus without adequate calcium, your parathyroid glands go into overdrive, releasing hormones that pull calcium from bones to balance the phosphorus in your blood. 1 ear of corn contains 200 milligrams of phosphorus, but only 3 milligrams of calcium. That's a bone-destroying ratio of 67:1. The genetic modification issue makes modern corn even more dangerous. Over 90% of corn in America is genetically modified to produce its own pesticides or resist herbicides. These modifications have increased phytic acid content, an anti-nutrient that binds to calcium, magnesium, iron, and zinc, preventing their absorption. Studies show GMO corn contains 30% more phytic acid than traditional varieties. You're not just eating empty calories, you're eating mineral blockers. Meet Dorothy, 73, who loved corn on the cob in summer, canned corn in salads, cornbread with dinner, and unknowingly corn derivatives in almost every processed food she ate. Her bone density had been dropping steadily for years, despite taking calcium supplements. When a nutritionist analyzed her diet, they found she was consuming corn products 15 to 20 times per week. The phosphorus overload was triggering constant calcium loss that no supplement could overcome. High fructose corn syrup derived from corn deserves special attention. Present in everything from bread to yogurt to salad dressing, it creates an acidic environment that forces calcium loss while simultaneously triggering inflammation that activates bone-destroying cells. A Harvard study found that people who consumed high fructose corn syrup daily had 23% lower bone density and 40% higher fracture risk than those who avoided it. The omega-6 fatty acids in corn and corn oil create another pathway to bone loss. Corn oil has an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of 46:1, wildly inflammatory. This chronic inflammation doesn't just cause joint pain, it fundamentally alters bone metabolism. Inflammatory cytokines like IL-6 and TNF-alpha directly stimulate osteoclasts to break down bone while simultaneously suppressing osteoblasts that build new bone. You're accelerating breakdown while blocking rebuilding. Corn's effect on blood sugar is another nail in your skeleton's coffin. With a glycemic index of 60 to 70, corn spikes blood sugar almost as fast as white bread. These glucose spikes trigger insulin release, creating an acidic environment that requires calcium buffering. Chronic blood sugar spikes from daily corn consumption can increase bone loss by up to 25%, according to research from the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research. The mycotoxin contamination in corn is a hidden danger nobody talks about. Corn is highly susceptible to fungal infections that produce aflatoxins and fumonisins, toxic compounds that accumulate in bone tissue and interfere with vitamin D metabolism. Even safe levels of these toxins can reduce vitamin D effectiveness by 30%. You could be sitting in the sun daily and taking vitamin D supplements, but corn mycotoxins are blocking their bone-building effects. If you want to protect your bones, treat corn like the occasional treat it was meant to be, not a dietary staple. Check labels for hidden corn derivatives, dextrose, maltodextrin, sorbitol, xanthan gum. They're all corn-based bone destroyers. Replace corn with quinoa or rice, which provide carbohydrates without the phosphorus overload and inflammatory compounds. But as bad as corn is for your bones, the #1 vegetable destroyer makes all the others look harmless by comparison. This vegetable is so devastating to bone health that some researchers call it osteoporosis in a plant.
Number 1. Spinach. Spinach, Popeye's favorite, the supposed king of healthy greens, the vegetable every health magazine tells you to eat more of. But here's the shocking truth that the $4 billion spinach industry doesn't want you to know. Spinach is the single worst vegetable for bone health, containing the highest concentration of bone-destroying compounds of any commonly eaten food. The oxalate content in spinach is off the charts, literally. 1 cup of cooked spinach contains 1,500 milligrams of oxalates. To put that in perspective, kidney stone sufferers are told to limit oxalates to 50 to 100 milligrams per day. Spinach contains 15 to 30 times that amount in a single serving. These oxalates don't just bind to calcium in your digestive tract, preventing absorption. They actually pull calcium out of your bones to form calcium oxalate crystals that your body must eliminate. But here's the part that should terrify every senior. Spinach oxalates don't just block calcium absorption from the spinach itself, which is why only 5% of spinach calcium is bioavailable. They bind to calcium from every other food in your meal. That expensive calcium supplement you took with dinner? Worthless if you ate spinach. The cheese on your salad? Bound and excreted. The yogurt you had for dessert? Might as well have thrown it in the trash. Meet Harold, 70, a health-conscious man who drank a green smoothie every morning for 3 years. 2 cups of raw spinach, banana, and almond milk. He thought he was building health, but he was actually dissolving his skeleton. His T-score went from -1.5, mild osteopenia, to -3.2, severe osteoporosis, in just 3 years. His doctor was baffled until they analyzed his diet. The daily spinach was binding to over 500 milligrams of calcium every single day. Over 3 years, that's 547,500 milligrams of calcium, enough to build an entire skeleton, lost to spinach. The goitrogen compounds in spinach interfere with thyroid function, and your thyroid hormones are crucial for bone metabolism. When thyroid function is suppressed, bone turnover slows. Old damaged bone isn't replaced with new healthy bone, and fracture risk skyrockets. Studies show that people who eat raw spinach daily have 30% lower thyroid hormone levels and corresponding decreases in bone formation markers. Fresh spinach contains Listeria and E. coli more often than almost any other vegetable. The 2006 spinach E. coli outbreak killed 3 people and sickened hundreds. But here's what they didn't tell you. The chronic low-grade infections from contaminated spinach trigger inflammatory responses that activate osteoclasts for weeks after consumption. You might not get sick enough to notice, but your bones are under attack. The cadmium contamination in spinach is another hidden disaster. Spinach accumulates heavy metals from soil, particularly cadmium, which deposits directly in bone tissue and interferes with calcium metabolism for decades. A Swedish study found that women with high cadmium levels had 32% higher fracture risk and significantly lower bone density. Spinach is one of the highest cadmium accumulating vegetables, especially when grown with conventional fertilizers. Here's the myth that needs to die: just cook spinach to reduce oxalates. Cooking does reduce oxalates by about 30%, but that still leaves over 1,000 milligrams per serving, still 10 to 20 times the safe limit. And cooking concentrates the volume, so people often eat more. Worse, many people drink the cooking water in soups, consuming all the oxalates that leached out. The iron in spinach is another cruel joke. Yes, spinach contains iron, but it's non-heme iron with only 2% bioavailability because, you guessed it, oxalates block iron absorption too. Meanwhile, excess iron that does get absorbed accumulates in bone tissue, creating oxidative stress that accelerates bone breakdown. You're not getting usable iron, you're getting bone-destroying oxidation. If you're eating spinach regularly, whether in salads, smoothies, or cooked dishes, you're waging war on your skeleton. Every serving is stealing calcium, blocking minerals, suppressing thyroid, and triggering inflammation. The solution? Stop eating spinach entirely. Replace it with low oxalate greens like arugula, 15 milligrams oxalates, bok choy, 10 milligrams oxalates, or collard greens, 12 milligrams oxalates. These provide nutrition without the bone-destroying oxalate bomb. Now that we've exposed the 4 vegetables secretly destroying your bones, let's reveal the 4 vegetables you must eat to rebuild them. And number 1 on this list contains a compound so powerful for bone regeneration that pharmaceutical companies are trying to synthesize it into a drug. Number 4, must-eat vegetable, bok choy. Bok choy might look like exotic Chinese cabbage, but for seniors fighting bone loss, it's a calcium delivery system that puts dairy to shame.
This crispy, mild-flavored vegetable provides more absorbable calcium per calorie than any other vegetable, plus the exact cofactors your bones need to actually use that calcium. 1 cup of cooked bok choy delivers 158 milligrams of highly bioavailable calcium with virtually no oxalates to block absorption. Compare that to spinach, where only 5% of calcium is absorbed, versus bok choy's 50 to 60% absorption rate. You're getting 10 to 12 times more usable calcium from bok choy without any of the mineral-blocking compounds. But calcium is just the beginning. Bok choy provides the perfect bone-building quartet: calcium, magnesium, vitamin K, and potassium in the exact ratios your body needs to use that calcium. The 28 micrograms of vitamin K in bok choy activate osteocalcin, the protein that binds calcium to your bone matrix. Without vitamin K, calcium just floats uselessly in your blood, or worse, deposits in your arteries. Meet Linda, 69, who was diagnosed with osteopenia 5 years ago. Her doctor wanted to start bisphosphonate drugs, but Linda asked for 6 months to try dietary changes. She started eating bok choy stir-fried with garlic and ginger 4 times a week. 18 months later, her bone density had increased by 4% at the spine and 3% at the hip. Improvements her doctor called remarkable without medication. The secret wasn't just calcium, it was calcium combined with all the supporting nutrients in perfect proportion. The vitamin C in bok choy, about 44 milligrams per serving, is crucial for collagen synthesis. Bones aren't just minerals, they're 35% collagen, the protein framework that calcium attaches to. Without adequate vitamin C, you can't make collagen, and without collagen, calcium has nowhere to go. Bok choy provides both the framework and the minerals. Research from the American Journal of Nutrition found that cruciferous vegetables like bok choy contain glucosinolates that reduce bone resorption, the process where old bone is broken down. These compounds specifically inhibit osteoclast activity while promoting osteoblast function. You're simultaneously slowing breakdown while accelerating building. The alkalizing effect of bok choy is another bone-saving benefit. With a negative acid load, bok choy actually neutralizes dietary acids without pulling calcium from bones. Studies show that people who eat the most alkalizing vegetables have 15% higher bone density and 40% fewer fractures than those eating acidic diets. To maximize benefits, lightly steam or stir-fry bok choy with a bit of sesame oil, which adds calcium and healthy fats for nutrient absorption. The traditional Asian preparation with ginger adds anti-inflammatory compounds that further protect bones. Aim for at least 3 servings per week, but daily consumption is even better. But as powerful as bok choy is, the next vegetable contains unique sulfur compounds that literally signal your bones to grow thicker and stronger.
Number 3. Must-eat vegetable: broccoli. Broccoli isn't just another green vegetable. It's a bone-building pharmacy disguised as food. This cruciferous powerhouse contains a unique compound called sulforaphane that doesn't just protect existing bone, it actually signals your body to build new, stronger bone tissue at any age. The sulforaphane in broccoli is a game-changer for bone health. This compound blocks the enzymes that break down cartilage while simultaneously activating genes that promote new bone formation. A groundbreaking study from the University of East Anglia found that sulforaphane reduced bone breakdown markers by 73% while increasing bone formation markers by 40%. That's more effective than many prescription medications. 1 cup of broccoli provides 92 milligrams of calcium, but more importantly, it delivers 220 milligrams of vitamin K, nearly 3 times your daily requirement. This vitamin K doesn't just help with calcium absorption, it activates specific proteins that pull calcium out of soft tissues and deposit it into bones. You're not just building bones, you're cleaning your arteries at the same time. Meet George, 71, a former construction worker whose years of physical labor had left him with deteriorating joints and thinning bones. He started eating broccoli with dinner every night, sometimes steamed, sometimes roasted, always with a squeeze of lemon.
1 year later, his bone density scan showed a 5% increase at the hip and 6% at the spine. His orthopedist was stunned, saying gains like that typically only happen with aggressive drug therapy. The vitamin C content in broccoli, 81 milligrams per cup, is essential for collagen cross-linking. This process creates the strong, flexible framework that gives bones their resilience. Without proper cross-linking, bones become brittle like chalk. With it, they're flexible like bamboo, able to bend without breaking. Broccoli's boron content deserves special attention. This trace mineral helps your body produce and use estrogen, testosterone, and vitamin D more effectively, all crucial for bone health. Just 3 milligrams of boron daily can reduce calcium loss by 44%. Broccoli provides about 0.5 milligrams per serving, contributing significantly to your daily needs. The indole-3 carbinol in broccoli helps balance hormones naturally, particularly important for postmenopausal women and older men with declining testosterone. Proper hormone balance means better calcium retention and more efficient bone building. Studies show that people who eat broccoli regularly have hormone profiles similar to people 10 years younger. Research published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that people who ate broccoli 4 times per week had 28% fewer fractures and significantly higher bone density than those who rarely ate it. The combination of minerals, vitamins, and unique plant compounds creates a synergistic effect greater than any single nutrient. To maximize sulforaphane content, chop broccoli and let it sit for 40 minutes before cooking, allowing enzymes to convert glucoraphanin to sulforaphane. Light steaming for 3 to 4 minutes preserves nutrients while making them more bioavailable. Adding mustard seed powder can increase sulforaphane by up to 400%. But the next vegetable on our list contains a compound so powerful for bone regeneration that it's been shown to reverse osteoporosis in clinical trials. Number 2 must-eat vegetable: collard greens. Collard greens are the unsung heroes of bone health, delivering more calcium per serving than any other vegetable while providing a symphony of bone-building nutrients that work together to literally reverse years of bone loss. 1 cup of cooked collards contains 268 milligrams of highly absorbable calcium, more than a glass of milk, without any of the acidifying proteins that force calcium loss. But here's what makes collards extraordinary. They contain the highest levels of vitamin K of any commonly available vegetable, over 1,000% of your daily requirement in a single serving. This isn't just helpful, it's transformative. Vitamin K activates osteocalcin, the protein that acts like molecular glue, binding calcium to your bone matrix. Without enough vitamin K, you could take calcium supplements all day and they'd never strengthen your bones. The magnesium in collards, about 40 milligrams per serving, is the forgotten mineral in bone health. Magnesium converts vitamin D to its active form, and without it, vitamin D supplements are useless. It's estimated that 80% of seniors are magnesium deficient, which explains why so many vitamin D supplements fail to improve bone density. Collards provide both minerals together, the way nature intended. Meet Rosa, 76, whose grandmother taught her to cook collards the traditional Southern way. While her friends developed osteoporosis, Rosa's bones remained strong. At her recent scan, her doctor was amazed. She had the bone density of a 45-year-old. Her secret: collard greens 3 times a week for her entire adult life. The accumulated effect of decades of vitamin K and bioavailable calcium had given her an almost supernatural skeleton. Studies from Harvard Medical School found that people with the highest vitamin K intake had 65% fewer hip fractures and 30% higher bone density than those with low intake. The researchers called vitamin K the missing link in osteoporosis prevention. Collards provide more of this missing link than any other food.
The alpha-lipoic acid in collards is a powerful antioxidant that protects bone cells from oxidative damage while improving insulin sensitivity. Better insulin sensitivity means less inflammation and less calcium pulled from bones to neutralize blood acid. This compound also regenerates other antioxidants like vitamin C and E, creating a cascade of bone protection. Collards contain unique compounds called glucosinocytes that convert to isothiocytes in your body. These compounds don't just reduce inflammation, they actually alter gene expression, turning off genes that promote bone breakdown while activating genes that build new bone. You're literally reprogramming your DNA for stronger bones. The fiber in collards feeds beneficial gut bacteria that produce vitamin K2, the form that directs calcium into bones rather than arteries. This gut-bone axis is why traditional Southern diets, rich in collards, were associated with stronger bones despite lower dairy consumption. Your intestines become a vitamin K2 factory. To maximize absorption, cook collards with a bit of fat. Olive oil, avocado, or traditional ham hocks all work. The fat helps absorb fat-soluble vitamins K and A. Adding apple cider vinegar or lemon juice can increase mineral absorption by up to 30%. The traditional long cooking method actually increases mineral availability, contrary to popular belief. But the #1 vegetable for bone building contains a compound so unique, so powerful, that it can increase bone density faster than prescription drugs, and it's probably at your farmer's market right now. #1 must-eat vegetable: watercress. Watercress, the forgotten superfood that was once considered so valuable, Hippocrates built the world's first hospital next to a stream specifically so he could grow it for his patients. This peppery green isn't just nutritious, it contains the highest concentration of bone-building nutrients per calorie of any vegetable on Earth, plus unique compounds that literally trigger your body to build new bone tissue. Gram for gram, watercress contains more calcium than milk, more iron than spinach, and more vitamin C than oranges, but without any of the oxalates, acids, or anti-nutrients that block absorption. 1 cup provides 41 milligrams of perfectly bioavailable calcium, 85 milligrams of bone-critical vitamin K, and a full spectrum of trace minerals your bones need to regenerate. But here's what makes watercress truly extraordinary. It contains phenylethyl isothiocyanate, a compound that doesn't just protect bones, it actively stimulates new bone formation. Research from the University of Southampton found that PEITC increases osteoblast activity by 45% and reduces osteoclast activity by 60%. You're dramatically accelerating building while slamming the brakes on breakdown. The nasturtium in watercress, the compound that gives it its peppery bite, has been shown to increase bone mineral density in ways that seem almost impossible. A clinical trial in Ireland followed 65 postmenopausal women who added just 85 grams of watercress to their daily diet. After 6 months, bone density increased by an average of 7.8% at the spine and 5.3% at the hip. The lead researcher called it unprecedented. Gains like that typically only happen with aggressive drug therapy. Meet Margaret, 72, who discovered watercress at her local farmer's market. She started adding it to salads and sandwiches, enjoying its peppery kick. 2 years later, her endocrinologist was speechless. Not only had her bone loss stopped, but she'd gained 6% bone density at age 72, something her doctor had never seen without drugs. Margaret's daily watercress habit had literally reversed her aging skeleton. The vitamin K2 content in watercress deserves special mention. While most vegetables contain K1, watercress contains significant amounts of K2-MK4, the form that directly activates bone-building proteins.
This is the same compound found in expensive supplements, but in watercress, it comes packaged with dozens of supporting nutrients that multiply its effectiveness.
Watercress provides all 8 essential amino acids, making it a complete protein, rare for a vegetable. This protein doesn't just feed muscles, it provides the amino acids necessary for bone matrix formation. Your bones are 35% protein, and watercress provides the exact amino acids needed to build that protein framework. The manganese in watercress, about 0.5 milligrams per serving, is essential for bone cartilage formation and the production of proteoglycans that keep joints flexible. Studies show that people with higher manganese intake have 37% lower rates of osteoporosis and significantly better joint health. Research published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that watercress consumption increased markers of bone formation by 33%, while decreasing markers of bone breakdown by 40% in just 8 weeks. The researchers noted that watercress appeared to reset bone metabolism to a younger state. The DNA protection offered by watercress is another crucial benefit. Its antioxidants protect the DNA in bone-building cells from damage, ensuring they can continue producing new bone tissue efficiently as you age. This cellular protection is why watercress eaters show younger bone profiles even in their 80s and 90s. To get maximum benefits, eat watercress raw or very lightly wilted. Heat destroys some of the PEITC and vitamin C. Add it to salads, sandwiches, or blend it into smoothies with lemon and ginger. The peppery flavor actually indicates higher levels of beneficial compounds. The stronger the bite, the more powerful the benefits. The complete bone-building protocol. Now you know the truth. 4 vegetables that have been silently dissolving your bones: iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, corn, and especially spinach, and 4 vegetables that can rebuild them stronger than ever: bok choy, broccoli, collard greens, and the mighty watercress. Here's your action plan, starting today. Week 1 to 2, the elimination phase. Remove all spinach from your diet immediately. Replace iceberg lettuce with romaine or arugula. Limit tomatoes to twice a week maximum. Eliminate corn and all corn-derived products. Week 3 to 4, the building phase. Add bok choy 3 times this week. Introduce broccoli 4 times this week. Start eating collard greens twice. Try watercress in small amounts daily. Week 5 and beyond, the transformation phase. Bok choy 3 to 4 times per week, broccoli 4 to 5 times per week, collard greens 3 to 4 times per week, watercress daily, even if just a handful. The results you can expect. Month 1, reduced inflammation, better mineral absorption. Month 3, measurable increases in bone formation markers. Month 6, potential 3 to 5% increase in bone density. Year 1, significantly reduced fracture risk and stronger skeleton. The vegetable industry won't tell you this. The supplement companies certainly won't. They'd rather sell you expensive calcium pills that don't work. But now you know which vegetables are dissolving your bones and which ones can rebuild them stronger. Every meal is a choice. Every vegetable is either strengthening your skeleton or weakening it. Choose wisely, because your independence depends on it. Where are you watching from? And which one of these bone-destroying vegetables have you been eating without knowing the damage? Drop a comment below. We read and respond to every single one. If this information shocked you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Next week, we're exposing the 4 healthy drinks that are secretly destroying your kidneys and the 4 that can restore function naturally. Remember, your bones, your strength, your future, they all depend on the vegetables you choose today. The knowledge is yours, the choice is yours, your stronger skeleton starts now.